Hey all, Kurt Sasser here. We are joined today. Let's get the intro out of the way here first because this is probably the most critical and important blah 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 thing. We are here on Two Geeks Talking live. It's the first time in about 4 years since I've done a live show. We are joined today by...
You brought it out live for me. No, I'm honored.
Well, I figured, you'd be a good guinea pig for this, so it works out well.
A great little guinea pig. It's true. If you want innovation and you want to test out innovation, I'm usually the person you hang out with.
Exactly.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
Of course, Two Geeks Talking is an entertainment industry interview show where we interview the creative people from the comic, film, TV, movie, and video game industries. I am joined today by a returning guest who has been on the show, well, our last live show 4 years ago, but she was also on with Marsh Rocket. I think was the very first time we ever talked. Was your very first call?
Oh man,
I know.
Marsh Rocket is it's messed up to say, and I hate being public. I think creators are allowed to change their minds about their ideas, where they're like, years later they're on the other side of it. They're like, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. I don't know, but I mean. Line out a lot of the groundwork for what I'm currently doing. So I don't know. I mean, it's bad.
Well, for those that don't know, we are of course joined by Jules Rivera. She is a talented comic artist. She is a lover or a giver of no ducks, as I accidentally typed in the thing here.
No ducks.
She's also a surfer, a comic artist, an illustrator. Talent
branding.
And of course she has a Kickstarter campaign called Love Jules, as you can see here. The
Love Jules, Manic Pixie Nightmare Girl.
Exactly.
Love Jules, Manic Pixie Nightmare Girl. I swear.
And of course there's a Kickstarter, so obviously the link's going to go down below. You should check it out. But Jules, welcome back to Two Geeks Talking.
Thanks for having me, Kurt. It has been a minute. Gosh, I guess it's been a while since I've had a webcomic, so that's another reason why I stayed away. I mean, I just didn't have any good webcomic ideas until recently. I mean, I kept trying to drag my sci-fi comic out of the mud, but that's like trying to make an entire big budget film by yourself, and you're not George Lucas. Like, it's really hard. Mean-ass little strips, and you guys are going to get to see some really amazing things right now because it works. See, most of my comic is digital, but I decided to do some physical artwork for the strip. Let's see. Here, I'm going to show you the romance artwork that I did. Mm-hmm. This is a comic about relationships, see? Romance and love. This is never released artwork. Nobody has ever seen that because I literally finished it up last night. What else? This is on horrible. It's basically like, here's what it's like to be liking how you're cute, but everyone expects you to clean shit.
So let's talk about Love Jules, of course, the Kickstarter campaign that you have going on. This awesome comic that has, I believe, taken Instagram by storm because that's how I first got introduced to it. And
through that, a lot of people on Instagram really liked it, and it's mainly because I told myself for years I could never write a 4-panel strip until I started doing it. Joke up and off the ground and landed in 4 panels. Somebody who was accustomed to long form comics for the longest time, like that represented a huge challenge for me. That's like, tell me a story in 4 words or less. Like, that's hard. So, but eventually I just started trying it and fussing with it, and I found that I actually had a knack for it. And I would see other comic artists, they would take their 4-panel comics and put it into tiles on Instagram, the little sleepy picture doodads. And I would just put my little 4 panels in there. And with the Kickstarter, all I do is just add a 5th panel of, hey, check out my Kickstarter. That's it. It can be about anything. I've written comics about Power Girl that everybody loved. The boob window. I was just walking around my house one day and I was like, she's got to get to her car keys, man. My theory is that Power Girl, DC superheroine, keyhole thingy over here, a lot of these dude writers who don't understand how titties work, they try to explain away this thing, and I'm like, dude, I don't try to explain your balls. Why don't you let me handle this one, huh? So So I just made a little comic strip about like Power Girl, and she's like, I just keep my car keys and crap in here, and she's like reaching in and pulling out all this crap and showing it to the Jules characters. There's a self-insert character to me, just Jules. But it's weird. I can't say there's me in the comic because that's not me. There's just a little cartoon of me. It's not the same. I'm over here. That's a little cartoon. Not the same. Super not the same.
We have we also have a live channel here as well too. So because it's a live interview, we have a live chat room as well. So
yeah, love it.
Hooligan Comedy, of course, says, "Hey Kurt and hey Jules, welcome to the channel."
Who do I see in the chat room? Can I talk to the chat people too?
Yeah, I think if you open up your YouTube thing, you can do the same.
Oh, I gotta go to YouTube. Oh God. Give me a second on that one. I'll have to spark up the surface because if I open up YouTube on top of this, that may not spark joy. Yeah, that's gonna get tricky. I'll take your guys' word for it for right now.
I'll take care of it on this side of things. So
yeah, thanks. Just take care of it. Just give me a price. It's not that I don't love you guys. It's that sounds like that I'm broadcasting and that gets technical. I don't want to screw up my feed to you guys. Is what I'm saying. I would corrupt the product.
But let's go back to the comic itself because since we last talked, you were just starting your freelance career. You were going into the wide world of being self-employed, in essence. How did that go?
Man, how's that gone? It kept me busy, obviously. I'd say it was a really wild ride. Actually, I covered a little bit of this in the Love Jules comic with a strip called Imposter, or Imposter Syndrome. That's what it was. Here, let's see if I can just find that for you. Because what I can do is at least send Kurt links and he can broadcast on YouTube. Deal?
Yeah, works for me.
Great, cool, love it. Yeah, I have a link on Webtoons. I actually broadcast not just on Instagram, but on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Webtoons, and Tapas. Like, I got 5 networks. I was going to go Tumblr, but then Tumblr got dumb.
Yeah.
For some reason, some other person tops Google as JOOLZ, so it is officially my life's mission to go fix that and go take it away from that guy. I'm like, no. I'm Jules. Me. I'm the winner. There's
only one of
Here
you.
it is. Yeah, there can be only one.
Mm-hmm. If Highlanders taught us anything.
There you go. So, Imposter Syndrome. I actually got over mine because I was put in a really nasty bind. And this is another thing I talk about in Love Jules. Because Love Jules is semi-autobiographical. Actually, no. It's not even semi-autobiographical. It is 100% autobiographical.
Yeah.
It's not like I talk about things in the script that are fictional, that didn't happen. A lot of times what I'm doing is I'm talking about my personal truths using surrealism and crazy little cartoons. Like, look, I have this character. His name is Blackbird. And here he is kind of just all over the place because the idea behind Blackbird is that he is everyone and no one.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I have to talk about something that, like a conversation that I had in my life or thought that I had, sometimes I need either another character to play off of, or I don't want to keep my friend's personal business out there. Like, I don't want to blow up my friend's spot in this conversation we would have had. So I just drew in a Blackbird as, the guy responding. It's perfect.
For sure.
It's still dealing with truth in just kind of a more cartoony, surrealistic way. I'll talk about things that happened in my life. I also talked about a little bit about my divorce, which is what sent me off on that self-employed divorce. It's funny now. It is so funny now. The story of my divorce is totally a comedy now. I can talk a little bit about this. I can basically say, freelance career. My marriage was leaky and crappy, but I may or may not have made an erotica book, and I think me drawing all those dicks that didn't belong to my husband on screen on a 28-inch Mac, by the way. This thing was like this big. It was so huge. And I had no reason to hide what I was doing. I was just doing some artwork for Filthy Pigments. Mm-hmm. And I'm just drawing along. But I really don't think he liked it. I don't think he liked it at all, because I checked the timestamps and I realized, right afterwards is about when he lost his marbles. So, yeah. I might have destroyed my marriage with a porno book.
I was gonna say it's more long. He probably felt felt inadequate based on the fact that you were drawing 28 inches of a dick.
I thought I was doing a job. In hindsight, after doing all my therapizing and all my personal work, I realized, I was sending a message. I was trying to say something, and I sent a nuclear bomb to his brain. It's more of art, you people. Art is some strong, strong stuff. That's what I have learned about Love Jules. I've weaponized comics. That you can make a comic about somebody and completely throw a knife right into their heart. The truth, the mean truth, right at the bottom of someone, So imposter syndrome was just me. And I was just proving myself. I was in a bad situation when I was getting divorced because my husband was the main breadwinner at the time. So obviously, breadwinner's going this way, and I got to go that way. I need a new plan. So I just took all the jobs I could, and I just kept I was a little mouse in that butter churn, and I kept turning that milk till it turned into butter. Next thing you know, I'm sitting on butter. I'm like, sweet, awesome, I can get out of here. So I just plugged and chugged enough so that I saw what I did, and I was like, this is kind of incredible. I colored a 24-page book in like 2 weeks. That's kind of ridiculous. Like, I saw myself doing crazy things. And I realized, like, no, I might actually be the real deal. And, that's certainly pushed my career in many interesting ways. I've gotten back to Los Angeles, which is really great. I'm happy to be back here, and I'm to be in Los Angeles. I'm so happy to be back here. I'm like, I'm never leaving. I am never, ever leaving, because I had to go back from California to Florida to stay with family throughout the whole of my family crap, That's how it is. You need to be around your people. But I got back here and, started working again. And, the Love Jules ideas just started coming out. A friend of mine, me and Jesse Sharon were just having a conversation on Twitter, and we were just talking about emotional abusers. Here, let me show you the very, very, very first Love Jules strip. That's coming at you, Kurt. Mm-hmm. Coming right at ya.
By the way, if you ever watch this video again and you see a mouse in the middle of your face, it's because I'm looking at my screen on the right here. It's not because I'm poking your nose with it.
Boop. Boop. I'm going to boop you right back. Boop.
Well, it's a big boop area.
So. Are you trying to boop my nose? Boop. Okay, let me get you this link real super quick.
Yep. Yeah, no, the one thing I've always enjoyed about your work is the fact that it's, you've always had color. Color has always been a strong suit for you. I've always loved color. From Mars Rocket on, it's just been that psychedelic trip.
Yeah, speaking of psychedelic, this is some crazy-ass 80s thing that I drew for the book. These are all chapter headers. Mm-hmm. As for the Love Jules Kickstarter, I'm not just compiling a bunch of strips into a book. There's layout. There's page numbers. Honey, I brought this shit into InDesign. I'm bringing the works. So every chapter, like, strips are bundled into chapters. They're not bundled. They're not grouped together in terms of chronology, because I felt like, I talk about a number of different issues on Love Jules. Like, again, we'll talk about, in this case, I'm talking about my new working life. And in this case, I'm talking about, like, romance and dating, so I'm making these chapter headers. And I'm realizing that, man, all my old sensibilities of Mars Rocket are coming back, but just kind of in a new way that's a little more refined. Like, I've grown up a little bit, feeling really a little more confident in my colors game. And yeah, I've always had an attraction to bright, crazy, eye-catching colors. And that's translated to all of my work, really.
So what has been the reaction, obviously, to Love Jules and to maybe these types of stories that are possibly hitting people in the personal fields?
I've never gotten a reaction like this on my work before. But I think it's because I'm being unflinchingly myself, really starting to gravitate towards it because I'm sharing my relatable experiences now. Like, before, I was always doing sci-fi and cyberpunk and some weird crap, and it was never about a personal story. Like, this is some crap that happened to me. And it deals in, like, kind of harder feelings. I think when people started to see the real me, people, like, really like, whoa, same, or me too. Or they they had a lot of really strong reactions because, I was finally starting to share my feels. And everyone was like, I have those same feels. And then we put all our feels in a little bucket and then it becomes the comment section. But yeah, I feel like it's been really positive. A lot of people have had a lot of great things to say about Love Jules. A lot of people are saying this is some of my best work yet.
It is. It truly is. We had a gap between talking to each other, but I've always followed your work. You've done a couple of other books as well, too. Deep Enders and Hi Felicia.
Okay. Well, Hi Felicia launched literally yesterday. So there is that's a very, very new thing. But Hi Felicia is I'm just doing the artwork while Felicia does all the writing and social media management and whatnot. But this is my friend's project, Felicia. And she's kind of doing her version of Love Jules. But instead of her being a really mean, nasty metalhead who's hitting people with sticks, is just I portray her as this kind of adorable, cutesy, like kind of 1960s vintage Barbie type person. Because if you've ever seen Felicia, that's how she looks. She just walks around dressed like all nice and 60s and twee and ModCloth and stuff. So, she had the idea to start making personal essays, and I had the idea to maybe make a little spot illustration for these essays. Because the thing is, when you're running a blog, it's kind of so I thought some things that I needed to go back for anyway for some other stuff. And I was like, well, hey, let me make you some artwork to get your blog started. That way you'll have an identity, you'll have a face, you'll have something to put out there. It's more of a cooperative relationship where I'll just keep providing artwork for her essays. And, these spot illustrations have come out completely hilarious. Kurt, do you have any here? Like, I can send you the thing that just released yesterday to show it to you guys so you guys can see it. We came up with the idea just Hi Felicia because she's always gotten beef with people, gotten grief from people for Bye Felicia, the thing from Friday. There you go. There's Felicia stuff. She's got Friday, but let me backtrack. This movie Friday, because I figure a lot of listeners, this is a 20-year-old movie. Really, I didn't even notice, but it's a really black movie. Like, you probably didn't watch this movie if you were not black in the 90s. Except me, because I guess being Puerto Rican makes me black adjacent. I'm just like, I just get invited to the same party. It's fine. Yay. For the movie Friday, there is this one woman in the movie who is a crack addict, and she's always coming around the neighborhood and messing with everyone and kind of being annoying. And the other women in the neighborhood always tell her, oh, haha, bye, Felicia. But the only problem with that is when you're named Felicia, you're going to hear that for the rest of your life. And I ought to know because I'm Puerto Rican and my full name is Juliana. And there's a song, Juliana, que mala eres. Every time I tell people my name, I got to hear that. I'm like, you're dumb. But I mean, the thing with Felicia that's really kind of damaging is that the Felicia in the movie is a person with a drug problem. And we're all treating her like she's just this nuisance and she's this person with a drug problem. Ain't anybody trying to help this hoe? Come on. Like, it's just kind of a means to demean her. And Felicia can speak much more intelligently about this. But that's kind of where we're going about this. Mm-hmm. So Felicia's going to be writing a personal essay based on that and many others. I've already gotten a few other illustrations in the chamber. So there's going to be more posted on that weekly. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can bring all my Barbie sensibilities. Because Barbie comics is one of the things that I worked on in my freelance adventuring. I miss Barbie. I like Barbie a lot.
So what was Deep Enders then?
Deep Ender is another new thing. I work on all the things. So Deep Ender is a story that I'm writing with, I'm not writing. I'm drawing it. He wrote the thing, and then he hands the script to me and says, now you draw the thing. It's a swimming comic. And it's about a guy, his name is Ollie, and he has a terrible accident. And in order to recover from the terrible accident that he has, where he has a head injury and falls into water, almost dies, in order to recover from this, he goes to a gym to try to train in their pool. Except it happens to be the worst gym ever, and it's gross and full of crazy, creepy, naked old people. But he stays because he needs a woman there who inspires him to keep going and keep trying. So that's kind of a fun rom-com. I'm working on that with John Lees.
Nice.
I just turned in my artwork for issue 2. So, and that's actually part of the Kickstarter too. So I've just turned in my artwork for issue 2. I'm just waiting for that all to get lettered. But once that gets done, people who kick into the Kickstarter will actually get Deep Ender 1 and 2.
Nice.
Yeah, if you get the pledges that have the Deep Ender comic, the affiliates pledges, the more Jules.
So
yeah,
then,
if you go go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so I was just saying, if you go to the Kickstarter and you select any of the pledges that include more affiliates like Deep Ender or Misfortune High, that's another one I did a while back. I would love to get that back up out of the ground. Funding. If you go to the pledges for that, Deep Ender 2 is going to be part of the package deal. So is Misfortune High 2. Once we break 2,000, that's what we're aiming for. Two.
I got the Kickstarter page on here too, so I've definitely backed this because I always love your work, and you have amazing prices here. You have great content, awesome rewards coming down the pipe. I mean, you unlock the bandage dispenser, which I think is a cool idea there.
A lot, my friends and I in Florida were brainstorming because I went back to Florida to visit recently, and we were brainstorming. How can we make these rewards a little more interesting? How do we make this a little spicier? And I decided, I looked around and I found bandage dispensers. And I thought that was funny because Love Jules is about pain and inflicting pain on people. So that's why I thought, okay, cool, bandage dispenser. That would be rock solid. Here, let me find the post in the update so you can actually show this bandage dispenser to your audience, because this is hella funny. I designed a bandage dispenser to say that would be funny. Oh man.
Yeah. So.
There we go. So if you go to the bottom of this update, you get to see the bandage dispenser. I got to put that on the main page too. That's the thing with the Kickstarter. It's a moving, breathing organism.
Oh yeah.
You're always working on it. You're always care and feeding it. You're always pushing more things and more things and more things. That's how I run a Kickstarter. Some people think Kickstarter is set it and forget it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, it's a Kickstarter, let's make money. And I'm like, no, we're going to be working for that money. You're going to earn that money. You can go out there, you can tell people how great it is.
It's a second job.
Yeah, it's basically a second job. Yeah, I've had the last couple of weeks a little bit more off because my freelance work has gone from to kind of low hum. So that's giving me time to work on this Kickstarter. But holy moly, I forgot that this thing takes over your life.
Mm-hmm. Because I would love to see more of this. Obviously there's the Instagram, but being a creative person, it's difficult to not only promote yourself but to remain fresh, to remain energized with something like this, even drawing upon the personal aspect of what you're drawing from.
Well, great news, I have no shortage of stories. I got material for Love Jules for a freaking decade, I swear. I mean, it's a lot of work for sure, but it's not really bad work. It's not hard work per se. It's just work, but it's stuff that I'm comfortable with doing. Promoting myself online. I found with this Kickstarter, if I just make all of my updates just an article, like, hey, here's an article about things. Like, I wrote a really kind of deep digging article about a bookmark design I made, of all things. In fact, I'll get you that one too.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I wrote a big thing about bookmark designs. And it became also about a deeper conversation about religion. Because the bookmark design is also a prayer candle design. Because I wanted it to do double duty. I was like, well, if it's a prayer candle, I can make 2 products out of this thing instead of 1. Boom. But in designing that, I was like, oh, prayer candle. Oh, I have to talk about religion now. We're going deep. I didn't expect to do some spiritual spelunking with these updates, but hey man, that's where we go.
It's it's just amazing because not a lot of people like to dive into their life, because this is society today is all about showing the positivity of, they're blessed, they're this, they're that, and they don't show the deep, dark secrets and issues that everyone has that they just want to gloss over.
Well, see, here's the thing. I am blessed and I am grateful. Like, I get up in this apartment every day. I'm like, thank God I get to stay here. Thank you, God. I just want to keep this going. I want to keep it going. I mean, but that's not to say that, that's to say my victories are hard earned, right? Like, I have fought through some stuff. I have lived through some stuff. I have suffered to get what I wanted, but I think that's a currency of the goodness laid out by how much I had to bleed out for it, So I'm okay with talking about those bleed out experiences, because in every Love Jules, I win. I never have a story about me always going, oh, and then everything ended sad. No, this is my comic. I get to win. And that's another thing. A lot of people point out about Love Jules that it's a slice of life comic, but it's not a slice of life comic that's necessarily about like kind of whining or self-loathing. Because sometimes, come on, be real. We've all seen enough webcomics. We've all seen them. And a lot of webcomics out there tend to be, if they're introspective, they're very like, whoa, woe is me. And people are like, no, we really like the fact that you're a fighter and that anytime you have a bad situation, you come out on top. And that's really cool. You're like, hero. Yeah. And I'm like, cool. I am happy to be the hero comics needs. Because, golly, comics need some freaking heroes right now.
The Latino Rocky, then.
I guess so. Or like the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of comics. Sure, why not? I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm not a boxing person, so that's all I could go by, movie references. So.
Right on.
Obviously, let's talk about surfing, because that's something that cropped up in the comic there, and I'm like, okay, how did this? Obviously, there's some truth into the comic aspect, but
all truth.
What brought that on for you? I mean, because that's a huge change.
How did I end up surfing? Well, that's an excellent question. Okay, so just to get everyone caught up, about a year ago, I guess like about a year as of like next April, like about 9 months or so ago, I started surfing because I had conversations with my friends, like my friend Stefania would be like, oh my God, I'd love to come visit, then we can go surfing. And then I was like, yeah, I didn't know how to surf. The hell was I going to do with her? I couldn't take Stefania anywhere. I was like, I need to actually learn how to at least get a surf lesson in under my belt. If I'm going to take my friends and family out surfing and have a really great time and, just be like the greatest LA tour guide ever. So I was like, okay, let me get one surf lesson under my belt just to be smart, just so, I know what I'm doing. But then something happened to me. As I'm on this board, like for the first time, I actually was during the surf lesson. By the way, surfing is hideously athletic. I was not prepared for how freaking hard this was going to be. I mean, I'm up to the challenge, but I wasn't prepared for it. So I'm on the board, and the board finally catches me. And it's like, it's flight. It's what it is. I experienced like flight and freedom. And I was like, nope, I'm in. This is it. I'm doing this thing now. This is the thing. So yeah, I just doubled down. I got myself a wetsuit. I got myself a board. I broke my first board. I got myself a second board. I decided to just go back out to the surf because, I love the ocean. I was taking myself out to the beach anyway. That's how surfing came up in conversation with my friends. So, this was just like a natural extension of something that was always there. Like, hi, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm aquatic. We're water creatures. We just live on an island. There's waves of water everywhere. Of course I like the water in the ocean. So that, and as I started surfing, I thought it was just going to be my kind of vacation away from comics, but it turned out to be the opposite, where it became the subject of comics, because the very first surfing comic happened when something so amazing happened to me out on the ocean. I had to document it. I had to. I was like, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like this. And it was so amazingly stupid. This dumb guy. I'm out there surfing. I'm trying to catch waves. I'm not doing a good job because I'm a sack of fat and I haven't done any push-ups and I can't. Right? I'm probably blocking people. I know. And one guy's like, hey man, you should probably paddle on down over there because over here is where like the experts are. Dude shows up and he's acting like an asshole telling me where I can and can't swim. And I'm on the water though, so I'm mellow. I'm just like, what? I'm not confrontational at all. I'm just like sitting there like, what? He's just saying crap to me. I'm like letting him run his mouth. I'm like, okay. I'm not there to argue. I don't want to talk to you. Go away. So the second after he accuses me of sandbagging him, a wave crashes right into the back of his head. Takes him out. Another surfer is like, buzzes his head like here's the guy's head, here's the other guy's face. Just whoa, happens in a second. I'm like, Mother Nature just set this idiot right. And I could actually catch the wave. And I got that wave, rode that bitch into shore, and I was like, well, I gotta make a comic about this. There's no way. There's no way anyone's gonna believe me if I just told them. So I made a comic about it. And that was the start of my surfing comics, because then I was like, I have more things to talk about with surfing. And the interesting thing about the surfing comics is that, yes, they're honest, but they're like the most uplifting thing I've ever done. I don't know. Because everything else I've ever done is all like, me, Sammy, me. But this is the first time I've ever done anything that was just really like positivity, but like real positivity, you know? And I guess I kind of had to find it for myself. But now I just do these surfing comics because, number one, I think about surfing a lot. Although it's been cold out here and I can't go surfing when it's cold. I'm not a cold weather creature at all. So I haven't been surfing in a couple of months. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And it's this thing that I found that I have to share with the world now. And I'm not going to stop. So yeah, that's also in the Love Jules book. Kickstarter.
Wait, what's your definition of cold?
Okay, see, again, this goes back to me being Puerto Rican. I'm a warm weather creature. So basically anything below 60 F is like, no, I'm not doing that. No. Because right now it's about maybe 50 something in LA. In Celsius, I'd have to get a little calculator to do that.
10 Celsius.
Like 10, anything under 10 C, I'm like, no. Not doing it. No, I'm not going outside. Like I basically, it's a good thing that I kickstarted Love Jules in the middle of like January, February, because I otherwise would be, you know, trapped in my house in good weather. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's totally cool outside. I don't care. Oh, I forgot to show you guys.
Oh.
I actually got a new tattoo.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Fun fact, I don't know if people saw me on the show before, but I've built up an entire sleeve. So
nice.
This I got to help celebrate Love Jules, which is this lovely scorpion. I'm gonna pick you up and take you with me.
Sure. Because I remember the snake one.
There we go. Look at that beautifulness.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, right. So I recently got that done in the Pasadena tattoo. No, it's called the Golden State Expo here in Los Angeles. It's the Golden State Expo, and it takes place in Pasadena.
Nice.
I'll put you back. Really, really fun show. I mean, I definitely am going to have to do some comics about tattoo expos and stuff. It's funny. At the exact same time as the tattoo expo, there's the Pasadena Comic Con is happening right next door. I'm not even going. I was like, nerds. Also, I didn't feel like paying twice for admission because it was already like maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I'm like, why though? If I go in now, I'm just going to be leaving in an hour. Why?
Oh. No, that's great. I mean, I remember you when you had the snake tattoo when that was getting started.
Because that was when I did the last Kickstarter for Misfortune High.
Yeah.
Yeah, that snake. I added an apple.
Nice.
That was last year's Golden State Tattoo Expo. Was this apple? So yeah, the snake tattoo turned out to be much bigger than I expected, but. That's a me thing. Anytime I deal with I always end up telling them to just go bigger, or they influence me to go bigger. Someone always ends up influencing someone, but then it's like, no, but we have to go bigger. Okay. I never get small tattoos. Like this scorpion thing is like the smallest thing I've got.
It's still a pretty big size, though. I mean, geez, that's like
It's still pretty big, right? Yeah. I was just saying, like, as I was talking to Felicia, because Felicia was with me. Oh, hi, Felicia. She was with me when I was getting the scorpion done. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I thought it was going to be like a little doodad like this. Oh, hell no. This thing turned out to be way bigger and more detailed than I expected, which meant I would have to heal it as well. Which is super fun to get right on your bicep. That's another thing. This is hella sensitive. I bruised like a peach. All of this under here completely bruised. I have the photos to prove it. I was like, oh my God, look at that. Taking photos and documenting all my gross tattoo healing on Instagram. Gross. By the way, if you love watching stupid random crap, subscribe to my Instagram story.
For sure. Actually, every so often I'll, on a break or something, I'll pop through some of those and I'll see yours. I'm like, she's at it again. Cool.
Yep. Well, Jules is at it again. Wrecking things and breaking hearts, I guess.
Oh, it's not.
And I know I'm going to have to plan something cool for Valentine's Day. I'll announce it probably tomorrow, Monday, or something like that. I just haven't really planned it yet. But, I mean, if love Jules, and the word love is right there in the title, you have to do something fun for Valentine's Day.
For sure.
But I just haven't thought of it yet. That's the thing. With Kickstarter, you kind of have to stay a little loosey-goosey. You can't really have everything planned to the nth degree.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes ideas come up organically. You just kind of have to go with it. I've been working with my friend Anthony, and his full name is Antonio Cristo, and he does a comic called Luminous Ages, and it's a fantasy story that's kind of got more of a Clash of the Titans vibe. You know, it's got more kind of Greek mythology rather than, I mean, it's weird because he's like, he's Australian. I can't believe they took out dragons and Greeks. Everybody thinks dragons are fantasy creatures from England. It's not true. They got it from Greece. That's the Anthony experience. He's got an Australian accent. He's really fun. Although I noticed that, like, he doesn't, like, sometimes when he works comic conventions here in America, I think people give him grief because he has that accent, and other dudes feel threatened by it. Like, you think you are, Thor? Neckbeards, they always be insecure, right?
Oh, God. Some of my favorite comics, especially when Star Wars: The Force Awakens came out, was that whole neckbeard thing. That was hilarious. I loved it.
I'm gonna go find that for your readers. I'm gonna find that so we can all enjoy the fun, because it's true. Because it was not The Force Awakens. It was the other one. It was
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. Because a lot of it seems like a lot of men online were upset that Rose Tico was a thing. Like, to me, I'm like, that's an Asian girl. Yep. And, like, I literally move on with my life, because also the wonderful thing about being Latin is that you're also Asian adjacent. You're getting on a really interesting corner of ethnicity right there. Everybody's kind of your name when you make The Last Jedi.
It's funny. They didn't make any fun of, or rather, they didn't have any real issue with Finn, but they did. It's like
they did, but because he was a dude, somehow I guess that slides. But the fact that it's women of color, whoa, all the nerds lost their marbles. So I just made a comic about it, and I was like, well, what if we just boil it down to exactly the thing you guys liked about The Last Jedi? Kylo Ren, right? Mm-hmm. But I just made it about Kylo Ren's nipples. Oops! Well, I mean, come on.
That's great.
I mean, like, you guys love Kylo Ren. How much do you love him is all I'm saying. You guys need a little bit of femininity in your life, okay? Otherwise, it's gonna be sweaty man nipples. Just make your peace with it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Make your peace. In fact, it's gonna be sweetie man nipples.
Oh. So
that's why we need variety and diversity in this world.
Like you said back at the beginning of the show, art's a powerful thing, and those that wield it responsibly or irresponsibly.
You have to be, yeah, it's definitely true. With great power comes great responsibility. You do have to be careful with how you say things. Especially with Love Jules, I had a series of comics that I did that I just bombed the internet with in one day because that's how mad I was. And it was about it was my Me Too story, and it was about my time working as an engineer for defense. Oops. So yeah, I just made that really, really mean, hateful comic. But in doing so, remember, I'm really good at capturing likeness. Okay, so if I wanted to make you look stupid, odds are pretty good someone's gonna be able to pick you out of a lineup. You know what I'm saying? But in having that ability, you have to be careful what you say about these people. I actually ended up messed up one of my fact checks on one of the guys that I was like, hey, bad guy. So yeah, one of the guys, I messed up my facts, and I was about to call him all kinds of things. And I was like, oh, I got to take that out of there because somebody else, like I did some further research on LinkedIn. Like I noticed something else on there, and I was like, oh, that thing that I was about to accuse him of doing is not true. Okay, so I'm just gonna back it off. You have to be really careful about this stuff because what you say can really, really cause some damage. I mean, it's funny. One of the dudes in the story got fired like 4 days before I launched. I know, right? I missed him by 4 days. So mad. I'm like, no. Some of my shit, they were like, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense as to why that dude took a hike. Yeah. And I'm like, here you go. Launching, missiles at people, and in terms of your old career, and you're able to draw their faces, you have to be very, very careful in how you present it, and you're doing it in a way that talks about what their negative actions were without sending the entire horde of internet freakos after them. Like, I don't need to have the internet crap on you. I just need people to know that your face is stupid, and so that if people see you in the future, they'll just know you're stupid. They won't know why. It just be in the back of their mind, like, I don't like this guy. I don't know why, but I don't like this guy. Because they read my comic. That's a hell of art.
Oh. Yeah, that was one thing I enjoyed when I went back to university for visual arts and film. Like, seeing the power of art, seeing the people's backgrounds, different people with different life situations, just coming together for art in general, whether it was visual, whether it was multimedia, whether it was film, whether it was like photography or painting or whatever. It was an eye-opening experience coming from, that whole logical atmosphere of being in computers, or in your case, in being an engineer. You break free from the constraints of life and logic, and you actually have creativity, and it's crazy how much that affects you.
Oh my gosh, right? By the way, good job on you for going back and getting your degree. That's not easy.
Not being 33 and doing it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that when you are only in tech, to assume that tech doesn't have creativity is to underestimate tech altogether. Part of what I do is digital. I mean, every Love Jules strip in existence is a digital strip. All of them. So, I mean, that's using technology. That's making use of technology, science, computers. So I don't understand why people who teach tech and who practice, the design and the creation of tech, why they don't think, more creatively. I don't know. Like, you need the both sides to complement each other. The logic makes it work, but creativity can make it interesting and make it work even better.
For sure. The one thing I found interesting was when it came down to, for me, it was when I first did my degree, it came down to 3 areas. I was going into either, it was going to be English or journalism and film, English and film, and then visual arts was actually my third choice.
I'm glad you went with visual arts, because there's no job in journalism anymore. Sorry to say. I was reading this whole Twitter thread about how basically a whole bunch of bad debt kept getting passed and back and forth between publishers, and how it's a mess. It's bad. Yeah. So bad. We're so screwed. so sorry. But yeah, good on you for getting the thing that worked out for you. So how did you end up with visual arts if it's your third choice?
It came down to the recruiter from Ryerson University, who I worked at a call center with. He was the recruiter for a hockey team. Said, well, you should really try to get your degree, and here's some good choices. So he talked with the recruiter from the University of Windsor. They got to talking, they know each other, and said, well, hey, this guy would be a good candidate for this, and I'm like, all right, cool. So my first day I was doing color wheels and I'd never done anything art wise. So I
got you working on color wheels though. Oh, color theory is something they never teach that much. And I'm like, why though?
But it was interesting because I ended up doing things like, hard to see the background, but get this out of the way. So in the background there was just something I ended up creating with oil. So
it's amazing, right? So it's like sometimes paint does half the work for you. That's why I like working with watercolors.
Yeah, watercolor's incredible.
Watercolor, like paint, water, and then it just does it for you. And I'm like, cool. The thing with video is that it doesn't do nothing for you. You want those pixels to get there? Guess what?
At least you can delete digital.
Yeah. But I think people really like to see, like, I'm just looking at this over here. They kind of like to see the flaws.
Oh, yeah.
In a social media piece. Like, this thing over here, like the marker totally goes out of the lines there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was in the lines last night, but I guess not. The lighting in my apartment's not that great. But, people you can see, like, the humanity that went into stuff like this. And I think people really dig that, especially if you're going to buy an original piece.
For sure. What was it? I love going to the comic conventions and going down Artist Alley and seeing amateur to professional artists just drawing at their tables and just seeing how they're doing things. And it's incredible, like, the mediums that you have access to these days, and and all it takes is a little time, a little effort, and you get better with everything.
For sure. At cons, I like working with my little handheld watercolor set.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this me. It's just, and I have a little cup that's a pop-up cup. No, I actually can show you this. Hang on. Here's my little paint kit. So seriously, tiny little paint kit. And inside we have my little pop-up cup. Just pops right up. Oh, it's covered in sand, because I'm pretty sure last time I had it was at the beach. It's a little pop-up cup.
Nice.
Make it flat whenever you need it to. It's actually made by Faber-Castell, so it's the art school stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got this little Winsor Newton painter doodad. Like, see, it's barely the size of my hand. So if I'm working at a table, look, so tiny, it doesn't take up very much space. At a table, you really are limited on space. And I custom hacked this palette a little bit. I added a couple of my own colors.
Nice.
I'm a very big fan of mixing a lot of tertiary colors. That's kind of how I roll. Like, I like my blue to be a little bit green, a little bit red. Two blues. And usually between those two, that nabs like 80% of what I need to do. And then I just have a few brushes and things that fell out. That was an eraser. Okay, so, but yeah, I just have a few little brushes and a couple, like a pen in here. Oh, I should probably get a pencil in here.
I used to do a lot of.
It's really cute and simple, And at conventions, I like having a nice little cute, simple setup. If I really feel frisky, I could probably bring along some like chalk and some baking powder, and actually make one of these kind of faded backgrounds that I have on one of these pieces, like with the
yeah.
I mean, it's covered in fingerprints. I thought I wasn't covering it in fingerprints, but with chalk, you can add a bit of like a vignette background. If I try doing some markers, it'll be bad.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be terrible. So yeah, you can just pass that along, just a little, little prep, done. You just put it on a little makeup circle. See? Easy. So at conventions, yeah, there's many, many ways to just make art. And I like to do it in natural media because everybody sees my digital crap.
Yeah.
So, people like to see what you can do with the natural media because you're making art happen. It's crazy. It's like you're a wizard. People love it. And I've learned to make it out, kind of show about it. I can talk and draw. Like, oh no, don't ever see me draw. This is weird. But I'm like, no, here's how I'm doing this. I'm drawing this and over here. I can talk through the whole process. And now that I'm figuring out live streaming, I could probably do more of that and just have just more of a point. Like, hey, I'm going to stream this thing. How to do this thing today. It's not enough to say, I'm just going to live stream some artwork. Who cares? I find that people show up to my doorstep because I make it a point to tell them, this is what you're here for. This thing. Let's talk about Band-Aid dispensers. Let's talk about design this, design that. How to work with watercolors. Many ideas.
It's that reminds me, I should definitely send me a link to your streams or whatever when you're doing it, because that would be cool to post up here too.
Yeah, for sure. I have my own channel name on YouTube. It's just the Jules Rivera channel, just Jules Rivera.
Beautiful.
I feel like I'm becoming the brand, and that is the crazy thing about Love Jules. I made myself brand, and I didn't think I would ever do that. I think I would always, become famous off of some other character I created. But no, I became famous off of me, which is strange. But I think because I am a real person, because I'm not a made-up cartoon character, people kind of connect to me, they just connect to Jules' experience a lot better. Like, look at this lady enjoying her life with an eggplant showing up on her phone. Like, that's realness. And I think by getting real, that is what got people in the door, I guess.
Well, it got attention, and like we talked about earlier, it connected with people, and that's usually the hardest thing when it comes to art, is connecting with people.
Now that I understand how to connect with people, it really is just about appealing to their emotions and understanding what drives their emotions. And I've had a lot of thoughts to share about what drives people's emotions and just understanding them and how not everybody necessarily has mean intentions. Like, for example, I'm on Twitter, right? And I'm just seeing, for some reason, comics creators have gotten into trolling the accounts of corporate fast food Twitters like Wendy's or Chili's or Arby's or whatever. Not Arby's, but they comic artists have gotten into, not artists, but not the writers too, have gotten into trolling corporate fast food Twitter accounts. So one person sees that Wendy's is a fan of Marvel. Wendy's is like, we like Marvel. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care, but I'm just kind of watching because it's a thing to look at that isn't my own work for once. Mm-hmm. So one of the people on the thread goes, well, what do you like to read? What are you doing? What books are you looking at? And people are like, oh, that's gatekeeping, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, actually, this reads like somebody who genuinely wanted to talk about comics. And I'm like, where has your life taken you? How far have you fallen such that the only person who will talk to you about comics is Wendy's? I'm sorry for that guy. I really think that guy just wanted to talk about comic books. I mean, yeah, it was gatekeeping too. And gatekeeping, for those of you unfamiliar, is the act of one nerd denying another nerd going, hey, man, you're not nerdy enough because you don't know the things up here that other upper echelon guys would do. Great, cool, awesome. But no, I think, I feel like people want more genuine connections than they let on. Even the nerds, even the gatekeeper nerd neckbeard types, they just want to freaking connect with somebody. And I'm like, wow. That's interesting to see. It's not always necessarily bad. I mean, even talking about something like dick pics, right? Okay, yeah, there's two types of people who send dick pics, all right? One, the creepy predator with all kinds of issues to resolve. Yeah, that guy's gross. You can't help that guy. But then there is the other guy who's just looking for validation. And I always wonder, like, we don't have anything in society built in place where if a man wants to be validated for, being physical, like what they're, being physical or sexually validated, like nothing there. And it makes me understand why dick pics become a thing, is because they're just looking for someone to say, oh, aren't you a big boy? You're just looking for that validation. You just need someone to tell you you're a big boy so you can feel better about your life. I get it. I'm not saying, there's certainly some etiquette issues we would probably need to go over, but I get it.
Well, from a male perspective, it's difficult, especially in regards to the need for validation, is because we always have to have that persona of being the strong type that doesn't talk about feelings. So it comes down to, the internet. So
the internet allows people to kind of be a little freer and let their hair down, so to speak. And I feel like in having all that freedom, we're still working out the rules of how people should interact. Yeah. I honestly think that, I think there is a place in this world for dick pics. Because, like, if I'm talking to someone I like and, and he's like, hey, lady, I got something to show you. If I already like him, I'm like, well, let's see now. Then it becomes a portfolio review. Ah, I see. Excellent angles. Very good.
Good use of lighting.
I believe you, sir. And in these that's where these rules are ironed out, in these places where we can have these conversations that are awkward and maybe seem like they're rooted in bad stuff, but maybe not really. I think what's happening in this world is that we're finally recognizing the need for men to be human. And I'm like, good, be human. Go pet a puppy. Talk about your feelings. Something other than anger. I don't know. Hey, you had a neat stove the other day. Great. Talk about that. That looks exhausting.
It is what it is. Look, if I needed validation, I would have stayed a nude art model in school, but I had to pay for college. So
See, that's a different story, though, because as an artist who actually, you go and work with nude models, as somebody who's done that, it's not about sexy times. A lot of people, if you're not in the know and you're not in the art world, you'll look at that and go, oh, hey, this is definitely sexy time. No, honey, it's time to go to work. You have a model. They are there. They are putting their body in a still stiff pose for a good 20 minutes for you to get your draw on, honey.
Yep.
Go to work.
Good times.
It's not, it can't, I can understand how some people would get a little giddy thinking about drawing a naked person, but do you have any idea how hard it is to stand still for 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's really, really freaking hard. So, these models aren't there to, sit here and amuse you. You got them for 20 minutes. Get to work.
It's funny. First time I ever did that, though, was I walked in and it was a bunch of third years drawing. So they were like the seasoned professionals, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I walk in and they're playing Barry White's Sexual Healing as I'm walking in. I'm like, this is going to be an interesting class. How to feel objectified in 5 seconds.
Well, I don't know. And I guess that's another thing that I'm discovering with Love Jules is that I don't mind showing people my parts. Like just the other day, I made a comic about me showing my ass, and like that was the big thing. Like, it's my ass. That's the punchline. And I'm noticing, like, especially a lot of female rappers doing this because we can. They're like, it's my ass. There it is. Pretty great. And like, yeah, that's the big joke here. I'll even send that over to you. It's title Waypoint.
Yeah. I saw that one. That was funny.
Oh man, yeah. The rest of your audience needs to see this. I got some fun things for you. But like, sometimes I can even just make dumb jokes like that.
Yeah.
Send it over to you.
And especially when it comes. Oh, there we go.
But I'm like, I don't mind showing people my body, and I don't mind dressing in a provocative way or in a sexy way because I like feeling like I'm sexy. You know, I like feeling like I'm an attractive person because I feel like I spent most of my life not. And that's another thing that I've kind of revealed in doing all the therapizing and post-divorce work and stuff is that a lot of people have given me grief in my world just because they're jealous of how cute I am. And I'm like, oh, okay. Once you realize that people are jealous of you, that gives you power. That's the truth. So I'm like, oh, okay, you're jealous? Now this is happening. Now you're going to see my whole ass. There's that. That's my bad. And I've gotten a couple of interesting messages about that one. Like, really? Is that really? And I'm like, yeah. What? We're going to talk. I mean, I'm not going to stop in this media game. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing. Someone's going to be talking about my butt eventually. I might as well control the narrative.
Mm-hmm. And that's difficult in today's age, especially with the internet. I mean, you have to be in front of everything no matter what. Or else it turns into a huge argument and it turns into who said this, who said that.
I see a lot of arguments out there, and I mostly just stay out of it. I'm like, no to all of that. No, that's dumb. All of that is stupid. Nope, forever. Just because I don't need that kind of conflict in my life. I mean, if you see my comics, you'll realize my brain isn't enough conflict. I don't need to introduce new conflicts to the old conflicts. I don't need to do that. That's not necessary.
Let me get through the conflicts I have.
Like Comicsgate, I see all this foolishness going back and forth about Comicsgate, and I'm like, oh God, no. Oh no.
Is that still going on?
I guess, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of nerds yelling at each other, and I'm like, okay, you guys go do that. I got a Kickstarter to work on. Right, whatever. Bye.
How's that any different than Reddit? I mean, it's the same thing.
I don't go to Reddit because I hear Reddit is the land of really kind of kooky, crazy guys. And I'm like, no to all that. No. I mean, I know some webcomics do well by posting on Reddit, but no, I don't feel like that's where the Love Jules audience is. That's all I'm saying.
Stick to Instagram and everything else. It's much better there.
Yeah. I feel like Instagram, people like artwork on Instagram, and I'm like, look, pretty pictures. And with the little swipey function, it kind of makes it into like a little video game. You can swipe and then see the next picture and swipe and see the next picture. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. And if I'm out in social events, I can show people my comics very easily. I'm like, hey, look. But I have to remind people you have to swipe.
We're slowly wrapping this up here. Unfortunately, I always love talking with you. I got 4 last questions for you. It's been a while, so obviously your answers may have changed since I last asked these. Everyone has 1 or 2 people that kind of inspired them on their path to where they are today. Who was that for you?
People who inspired me on my path. Well, I mean, a lot of people just told me to pick up and keep going after I got shot down in my personal life. My whole family splintered apart. I mean, there were so many people who supported me and just kind of kept me going. I mean, I guess in terms of people who inspired me, it's a good question. Who inspires me in my artwork? I see so many creators out there who are inspirational and who put out amazing stuff. Let's see. I met Edward James Olmos once and lost my marbles because I took calculus because of stand and deliver. That was a thing. But I don't sit around doing things for Edward James Olmos, so that's a really strange thing to say. I don't know. I guess I'm inspired by people who don't have a voice. I'm inspired by people who, like me, who have just been told to shut up their whole lives, and I'm like, no, somebody needs to say something. And sometimes I have to be. You just have to be the one who's like, okay, guess I'm doing it. Me, taking it on.
From a professional's perspective, you're successful. You have many comics. You've done many Kickstarters. You've had great content. Do you consider yourself personally successful?
I got this apartment. I'm keeping it. That's all that matters to me. Because I feel like if you measure success in a way of just, do I have all the material items I need? Or do I have all the relationships I want? Or do I have all the stuff in the professional world out there that I want? You're never going to be 100% of where you really, really want to be. But you know what? I'm in a place where I'm warm, I'm happy, I'm safe. I'm pushing forward on projects. I'm always going after the next big thing. I'm not going to stop till I get my condo. That's for sure. I feel like I hate to say hashtag blessed, but no, I feel like I'm very fortunate in that I'm in a place where I'm good. I am good. And if I get even more professional opportunities out of this or maybe the next thing, great, awesome, love it. Like, I feel like I'm moving in a really good direction. That's a good way to put it. I'm moving in a really good direction. That answers your question.
That's good. I like that one.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've asked these questions. I got to think of what the heck the last two were. I'll just go by the last one then. The younger generation are looking at your work, especially in this day and age of social media interaction and the internet. And they're becoming inspired, especially being a Latino comic artist that you are.
What up?
What advice do you have for the younger generation that are following in your footsteps?
Oh gosh, wow. What advice? Start and don't stop. That's always been a really good standby. Like, start doing the thing. Do not stop doing the thing. Other people might tell you that's not a good thing for you to be doing. You should be doing something more productive. But if you're driven to tell a story or create a piece of artwork or just give something back to this world that is bigger than you, good. Keep doing that. Do that thing. Channel your feels. And you know what? Your personal story matters. I mean, for the longest time, I never thought my personal story mattered because I guess I didn't think I was special enough. I don't know. And then I had some things happen to me. I went through some stuff. It wasn't always clean and easy and cheerful and happy. A lot of it was really, really awful and painful. But you know what? I read somewhere is that a scar is proof that you were stronger than whatever tried to kill you. And so, you know what? Your scars matter. Your stories matter. Tell them. Tell people. And you know what? You'll find that you're less alone. Because it's a really great way to connect with people. Just share from here, and you'll find your people.
I like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
All right, Jules. Well, this is the time where we have you promote your social media and your Kickstarter and all that other stuff. Where can we find you on the internets?
Okay. Well, if you want to find me on the internet, I'm at, on Instagram, I'm Jules Rivera Art. I do more than just love Jules on there. I do lots of different art things. So Jules Rivera Art on Instagram. That's all one word. On Twitter, I'm just Jules Rivera. Got in on that one early. On Facebook, I'm Jules. You just Google me, just search me on Facebook. I'm there. I mean, look for the screaming green-haired lady. How hard could that be? Jules.rivera.art. Or just go to julesrivera.com. All that stuff, hubby stuff is over there. So you probably look into that. Check it out. Get caught up. Love Jules is on Webtoons. I'm sure you'll be providing the links for that. Love Jules is also on Tapas. It updates twice a week. Feel free to just keep your eye out for it. It's a great project. A lot of people are having a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. Well, Jules, I hate to say it, but that ends this episode of Two Geeks Talking. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, that's okay, Kurt. I'm glad you brought out the live broadcast-o-matron out for me, man. I'm feeling really honored by that.
Now that just means I have to do that for everyone else now. Crap.
Yeah. That's okay. It's not that hard. We'll figure it out together. We're both smart techie people, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's all somewhere here-ish. But again, we got
the juice in the brain noodles. It's fine.
Again, thank you so much for coming on the show, Jules. Really appreciate it. For those that want to be on Two Geeks Talking, it's very easy to find. It's at twogeekstalking.com. In fact, I even put the darn image there up top. So there you go. Jules' artwork is, of course, at her various websites. Beautiful work as always. Buy her books. Buy her everything. Buy everything from her. Just buy everything. It's easier.
Even the enamel pins, the ones that say BDE. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who's a big boy now?
And of course, find myself at Kurt Sasso on pretty much every single social media, from Instagram to Twitter to whatever else. Again, thanks everyone for listening and watching. Next interview is, of course, with Scott Christian Sava from the Dreamland Chronicles. He was also an artist for Spider-Man and look for Animal Crackers as well, coming out hopefully sometime soon in theaters. It's a beautiful animated film as well. He'll be on next week for that. So thank you again, everyone listening, watching. Tune in next week for another great interview on Two Geeks Talking.